Early evening, late afternoon, Steeler Nation. We are here for the Steelers Now post-game show. It is me, Joe Morrison, and Alan Saunders, who is on site at Acrisure Stadium. Steelers defeat the Cleveland Browns 23-9. It was a game that Pittsburgh, for the most part, controlled throughout. And, of course, any divisional win is a big win in the grand scheme of things. So with that being said, Mr. Saunders, give me your thoughts or your knee-jerk reactions.
Yeah, I agree with your assessment there. Steelers very much in control of this game the entire way. Never really had the outcome in doubt at all. It wasn't a perfect game by any stretch. It wasn't a dominant performance, really, especially on offense. I thought the defense was fairly dominant. But, they didn't need to be either. This was a game where they could just kind of go out there and lean on them and win. On one hand, it's good to be able to do that when you can. They didn't need to take many risks to win this game. They just kind of had to do the bare minimum, really, on offense. But it probably doesn't give, the warm and fuzzies about what happens when you face a significantly more talented opponent than the Cleveland Browns, who appear to be once again headed for the basement of the AFC North. But a win's a win. A win in the division's a win. 2.5 game lead in the division right now is possible by the end of the day. The full two games up on the Bengals right now, and they're playing a Packers team where they're 2-touchdown underdogs. So, I think this is setting up quite nicely for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they have yet to play their best football. And we saw last year this team really run out of gas down the stretch. So, that really shouldn't be – I understand that it is worrying people. I certainly understand the emotions of fandom, but much rather would have the opposite of last year than a repeat of it, right? Would much rather build up to your best ball over the course of the season. And I think that's a nice step forward in that regard today.
Absolutely. And I felt like today was more of a don't try to do too much against a good Browns defense. They are a talented group, but like I have kind of hypothesized, they're best when they're aggressive. And if you give them reason to be aggressive, they think that you're going to make a mistake. That's when they really tee off, similar to Pittsburgh's defense in a lot of ways. But if you saw a lot of, pre-snap motion, misdirection type of things, if you make them have to start going into their fundamentals, that's when they're at their most vulnerable. So I felt like today was just let's try, maybe not try not to lose per se, but let's try not to make it into a foot race and then trip ourselves up. I think ultimately it worked.
Yeah, the only way Cleveland was going to win this game is if the Steelers did something stupid to give them a chance, to give them some momentum, to give them a big play. And so I think, minimizing your opportunity to do that while still doing what you need to do to win the game makes a lot of sense. But, all right, let's get into some questions. I can start with this one. Stephen, right at the very top. Any significant injuries? Myles Killebrew, right knee injury, very significant. Would expect him to miss multiple weeks. Still waiting on an MRI and, of course, a full diagnosis. But I would be very surprised if we see Killebrew again soon. Of course, his role is not what most people would generally consider significant. Doesn't play on defense except for in the goal line package. But he does a lot on the Steelers special teams that are going to be really hard to replace. You saw they actually, they get the running into the kicker penalty, but Cleveland's bringing the rush because they know Killebrew's not in there, and they did almost block that punt, usually the personal protector. So while it worked out for the Steelers there, that's probably not what they want happening on that play going forward. Definitely going to be a big series of adjustments. I doubt one person will take all of his role. It's going to take a number of guys to step up and fill that job. But other than that, I think everybody else is okay. Darius Slay, I think, probably could have gone back into the game if he had to. Joey Porter and Brandon Echols both did go back into the game. Carson Bruner went back into the game. I think that was it in terms of injuries.
Absolutely. I know Ramsey on that first sack, he seemed a little, I guess, maybe knocked the wind out of himself. But he was back in too.
Yeah, he was back right away too. Peppers also went down very briefly. Talked to him after the game. He's fine.
No, absolutely. No, definitely feel for Mr. Killebrew. I mean, he is the special teams captain as well. So that's huge, huge shoes for someone to fill here in the coming weeks for sure. Jordan gave you a shout out. He said your prediction for tight end production is pretty close. 8 catches for 103 yards and a touchdown. And I think this was definitely going to be a game where you had to create some kind of mismatch and counter that aggression by using your big boys.
That was Smitty's prediction, not mine. Smitty said 80 yards. I said that wasn't bold enough. So then I made him add the touchdown on, and then he gets that too. So I knew that the Browns just did not match up well against the Steelers tight ends. It was obvious. The way they've been using them in the run game, I felt like the natural next step was to, okay, well, you're going to put them out there a lot because they're blocking well. Let's start throwing to them. I was a little surprised we didn't see more of Pat Freiermuth in this game, but we did see a bunch of Jonnu Smith and a bunch of Darnell Washington. I think your career high for Big 80, including a huge play in the first play of the game that really, I think, set the tone for what the Steelers offense was going to be all about. Look, you're not going to be a great offense playing what is essentially 7 offensive linemen, but I think you can be tricky enough to not let it just be a one-shot deal when Darnell Washington's able to show the athleticism. Rodgers missed him on another one. He should have had another big play. It's not like he is offensive line size, but he can catch the ball. And you start to put those two guys out there, plus a Jonnu Smith, plus a Pat Freiermuth, plus a Connor Hayward, and now you're in this super heavy package, but you still have guys who can catch and make you pay down the field. I'm not saying it's like going to be the world's most dynamic offense, but I think it does become difficult to defend.
No, absolutely, especially when January comes around and December, and teams aren't going to be throwing it as much. You're going to lean a little more on the run game. Having that set out there could really make a big difference, especially when a defense can't really truly anticipate what you're going to do, especially if you run out of that formation and pass efficiently too. And you mentioned Hayward. Jim gives him a shout out, and he says, hell of a throw and catch to Hayward for his first touchdown. Now, I will say kind of, going into preseason after cuts and then early in the season, Hayward has gotten some flack on social media from some folks. And, seeing that touchdown right there really, to me, felt good for him because, he showed that, he can do just about anything you need him to do.
He's a good player. I've never understood the hate for Connor Hayward. He made a great tackle on a kickoff today too. I always say that's one of the rarest things you get an offensive player that can score and that can play special teams. He ran a good route. It was covered. Locked eyes with Aaron. Made a nice adjustment in the scramble drill. Made a great catch. He has great hands. Always has. I don't understand the hate. It's a really good player for a fourth tight end and a special teamer. Obviously he's the bottom of the roster guy. I'm not saying he's anything he isn't. He's, 6th-round draft pick. He's there mostly for special teams, but he's a useful player. And especially if you're going to play tight ends as much as the Steelers have been, you need a good backup, and he's that as well. I thought really all 4 of those guys had a good game, and there was times they could have gotten the ball even more. I think Aaron will go back and watch his tape and kind of kick himself for a couple more he had out there that they didn't make. I'm not saying he was bad either, but the tight ends played very well in general. Hayward, I never understood the flack or the grief that he gets from his own fan base. He's a good player like that. People like Ben Skoranek, they're the same guy. I don't understand. It's if you like Ben Skoranek, you should like Connor Hayward. They do all the same things.
No, absolutely. And I think, I'm happy for him. I'll say that. I think that plus there's a great catch too.
That was
not an easy catch. So, and hey, speaking of which, I think Aaron Rodgers showed he still has a little vintage arm in him too with that throw. That was that he had some mustard on that one.
Yeah, the one on the sideline in the first quarter to DK Metcalf.
They underthrew
a dot. No, the one that was completed, the one that comes through the on the sideline, that was a nasty throw. The one in the end zone to Hayward was nice. Underthrew the deep ball to DK that could have broken it open a little bit earlier than ended up happening, but it's not as consistent as it used to be, but he still has the arm. It's still in there.
I'm as good once as I ever was. Redbeard, speaking of quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel is going to be having nightmares about Nick Herbig for years to come. And on the broadcast, they highlighted the state championship that they played in, and Herbig sacked him like 3 times. So if Gabriel sticks around in Cleveland, I don't know. Maybe maybe it's going to be like his lifetime arch nemesis to a degree.
Dylan Gabriel was hit 16 times, Job. 16. I think that's the Steelers' record. Now, the stat quarterback hit hasn't been around for very long, but the most I could find while I was searching during the game was 14. So I think that's going to end up being a team record. They were just relentlessly pursuing him. And I can't believe the Browns threw the ball 52 times. I mean, the run game was not working, but it was not until the middle of the third quarter that they were really chasing this game. Like, they could have just kept things closer to the vest. Really felt like they unnecessarily put him in a lot of danger. I can't believe as much as I say I can't believe they threw it 52 times, I can't believe he didn't have a turnover. He was hit many times. A couple of times he was hit when he wasn't looking. He threw about 10 passes that could have been picked and probably 5 that should have been picked. Juan Thornhill said there was 2 interceptions I should have caught, and Joey had one and Slay had one. So I don't really think much of Dylan Gabriel as an NFL prospect. I thought it was a head-scratching draft pick in the moment. It's also like completely unfair for your first NFL game to be in this stadium against this defense the way it played today, because I don't care who you are, you're not going to look good with this defense playing the way it is right now.
No, absolutely. Yeah, he was. His first start was in London, so that was their designated home game. So this was definitely baptism by fire, because that's not easy to have to go to London and then take a trip back home, practice a few days, then go to Pittsburgh. So that it's definitely been tribulation by fire. Now, one thing throughout the game that was highlighted: the Steelers coming into the game was the lowest penalized team. And like Mike says here, Steelers had a lot of penalties today, but some of them were kind of ticky-tacky. But nonetheless, the penalties were definitely on the upward trend today.
Yeah, I don't know what – I mean, the 3 of them for lining up offsides on the defense is weird. I guess a bug in somebody's ear about that. Thought the Peppers penalty on the punt return was awful. That was a big swing in the game. Really kept the Steelers from being able to put some distance between them and the Browns early on. And that was a bad call. Other than that, I thought it was – I didn't love the Eccles-Judy, tie up there. I don't really know what he's supposed to do. He's trying to disengage. You could call it both ways. I'd be okay with that. I didn't love just the Steelers getting one there. Other than that, I didn't think the officiating was bad. It did feel over-officious, though. I have seen with football. We don't need what was it, 14 flags?
No, absolutely. No, here I'll be able to look at it officially, but no, 16. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, you also got to think that makes the game longer too, and that's definitely not fun for sure. And Dan is asking the same question that everyone else on Twitter is asking, including Browns fans. Where is Myles? I mean, he's been kind of a no-show. Couldn't watch the game. He listened to it on SNR. Was Garrett even playing? And, I mean, there were a couple moments, you're like, oh, there he is. Specifically in, like, the fourth quarter when Steelers were trying to run out. He got, like, one tackle at the line of scrimmage. But give a big shout-out to Broderick Jones and Frio J. Said Big Broad early on. So we want to thank you, Mr. Frio J. But, no, I mean, I think Broderick Jones did a great job of in his moments of one-on-one with Myles Garrett. And plus the Steelers got rid of the ball pretty quickly throughout the game. But, no, I mean, that they did a good job of keeping him under control.
Yeah, Garrett, I think, only hit Rodgers one time. The one play where he ends up flipping it to Warren for a decent gain, a little Mahomesian flick of the wrist for that one. I thought Rodgers was the key to this. He understood when he had time and when he didn't, when he could take a shot and when he couldn't. And he was very, very quick in getting rid of the ball when he felt the pressure. I felt that was really a masterclass to me from Aaron Rodgers in feeling when the pressure's coming and knowing when he can and can't hold the ball. And then not to minimize Broderick Jones, because I thought he did a really good job too. The big thing that we've seen from Broderick Jones over his first 2 years is the just occasional rep where it's just a zero grade. It's just a whiff and a lookout. And if you do that with 95 over there and a 41-year-old quarterback, the card's coming onto the field. And there was absolutely none of that in Broderick Jones' game today. He was on his P's and Q's, got the calls right, and they got four hands on Garrett a lot too. I mean, they were giving him some help, but I thought this is probably Broderick Jones' best game as a pro. I thought he was really, really good. They ran at Garrett too. It wasn't just the Steelers run chart where it's all the opposite direction. They ran to the left too, and I feel like that was a big part of their whole offensive game plan working.
No, absolutely. And there's a lot of comments, praising Rodgers Jones and the O-line in general too. We do have one interesting question that's kind of got my brain going a little bit. Desert Cactus is asking, when's the last time the Steelers had a cornerback with 2 sacks in a game? And immediately I started thinking the Mike Hilton days. I thought of Christmas Day in 2017 when he got 3 sacks, and I'm trying to work my way up to now with that.
I'd have to do some research. I don't know. Always love the Gateway Clippers contributions to our post-game show.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I mean,
the only one that stands out, it would have to be Mike Hilton, because he was just so good at blitzing. And I think Christmas Day 2017 when he got 3 sacks, that's what pops out immediately to me. But Jim also did, while we're talking about those 2 sacks, Jim also says, love talking about Ramsey. He asked us to kind of talk about his game a little bit.
I thought Ramsey was all over the place. Good for a guy who had an injured hamstring, was questionable to play. Had 1 practice. He played nickel. He played outside. He played safety. He made plays in the backfield. He made plays on the football. He made a really great tackle in space on a swing pass early on. The Steelers really they were running a lot of checkdowns. The Browns were, and when you catch a check down, you get the ball, you're jumping over here, and you're like, oh, it's Ramsey, Queen, and Deshaun Elliott. Just kneel down. That's ridiculous. And I can't. That's especially the way the Steelers play defense. They want to get after the passer. They also want to keep a lid on it. That middle zone is sort of the natural soft spot in their defense. To be able to have guys like that running downhill on those swings and checkdowns, it makes that a lot harder way to live.
No, absolutely. And I like that you mentioned Patrick Queen as well, because Schoolhouse Rocks highlighted him, said he's had a sneaky good game. He's been playing at an all-pro level, and he made a couple really, big, painful, inflicting hits, especially in that fourth quarter, and even took out his own teammate at one point. But I think Patrick Queen, they're getting what they wanted out of Patrick Queen when they signed him to that deal last offseason, and you got to feel good, especially after a rough first couple games for Peyton Wilson, but now he's rotating with Cole Holcomb. You got to feel good about this inside linebacker core.
Yeah, I thought Holcomb was good. I thought Wilson was good. They really shut down Quinton Judkins, and that starts up front. You have to dominate the line of scrimmage, and I felt like they did that. But the run fits, man. PQ, he's playing like all-pro Patrick Queen right now. You're seeing the guy that the Steelers paid for out there right now. He's hitting hard. He's talking. He's communicating. He's pass rushing. He's a threat to knock the ball out on, I feel like, every tackle. He's great out there right now. I can't talk enough about how much better Patrick Queen is this year than he was last year, and that was reasonable to expect. There's a whole lot of new coming in when you're a player on a new defense that you never played in before. You're the green dot when you haven't been that in a couple of years. All new guys around you. He's really looking comfortable and really playing fast and hard right now.
No, absolutely. And anytime you get that kind of return on your investment, it's always a good thing, because I know everyone talks about the draft being a crapshoot. Sometimes free agency is, because sometimes you think a guy's going to fit well in your defense, and sometimes it don't. I think Patrick Queen not only has fit well in the defense, he fits well as a Steeler as well.
Absolutely.
Now highlights something that'll get Matt Canada a little perked up. Jonnu Smith bringing back the jet sweeps. I don't imagine we'll see that a ton, but I mean, when he did get his opportunity, he
10
looked a
yards?
little nippy out there.
Yeah, he looked good. DK Metcalf lined up as a fullback on one play. We had a play where Jalen Warren took a handoff and Aaron Rodgers ended up being the lead blocker. There's some Arthur Smithing out there still happening. Nothing quite like the tight end wildcat tush push we saw a couple weeks ago, but he's a guy that's not afraid to get deep into his bag, and I think we saw a little bit of that today. I love Jonnu Smith running the ball, man. They ran some plays in the summer with him as a fullback running the ball as well. Get him the ball and let him run. He's a great yak guy.
No, absolutely. I don't know. Steelers have really good tight end room. And I mean, we didn't see a whole lot of Freiermuth today. He did get one catch, but I think it's all going to be matchup based. And I think that's what Arthur Smith wants. And, if he can get creative like that, it'll definitely be an advantage, and definitely fun to watch too. Even if some folks had a little PTSD flashback to the Matt Canada days, if you will. Brandon Griffin asked, was the grass an issue for Boz missing the field goal? From the replay and broadcast, I mean, you kind of saw the divot, but yeah, it looked like he just slipped. The broadcast also said they're going to be resodding the field after this game.
They are currently resodding the field. This was the end of this. They go to a slightly different grass when the weather starts to turn. So they're getting their November grass in there now, I guess. But yeah, this is the last game with this field. It's always questionable, like when exactly it wears out. The weather's been nice, but it's an inexact science as to exactly how long the grass is going to hold up. It looked fine in warm-ups. It just really fell apart over the course of the game. I asked Boz if he slipped on that, and he said, well, I can't fully repeat what he said, but the gist of it was he's not talking to us. So there you go.
Duly noted for sure. So we also have one comment. I'm pretty sure it's just Myles and Garrett related. Dave says, "Don't miss Jove's Halloween show. You can't scare me." And I like that because, Myles didn't have any of his "boo, did I scare you" this week, other than the one hit that you highlighted. But Scotty also mentioned so much for Garrett's graveyard talk, and I thought, these are some good shout outs, because going into the game, he posted, I think, 2 or 3 separate videos and had a soundbite that the Steelers fans hate, gets him juiced up. And again, I really think you just can't say enough about the game plan and the execution by this offensive line.
For sure.
All right. And let's take a look here. While we're talking about the field, Vegas TJG said too many games are played on the field, pro, college, and high school playoffs. I'll also throw some more in there. They have concerts there occasionally and other events. It's definitely a very high used field, but they're working on it as we speak. Is what it sounds like.
Well, this is already the second field of 25, and they will go through at least 2 more and maybe 3 more by the end of the season. So they do replace it often. It's just I think the Steelers spend more on turf maintenance than any other team in the league. They're dedicated to having a grass playing surface. The players want it. That's basically the big reason the Rooney family is always given for keeping the grass. And it definitely requires a big investment to maintain. But they are out there all the time replacing it. And, yeah, I mean, is it ideal? fun to have two teams playing on a grass field in a northern climate? No. But Pitt being over by Thanksgiving, I think, makes that a little easier to deal with. Usually the grass growing season where it plays well into September. So you do have a month or two where the changeover is a bit awkward here. But I think they've like, over the last 5 to 7 years, I feel like they've gotten the field into a pretty good place. There's very rare where the field really looks bad out there. And even today, it was playing fine. I mean, Boswell slipped right there in between the hashes, the midfield, which is the one spot that gets worn down the most. But for the most part, the field was fine. It didn't impact the game much at all. If this is as bad as this field ever gets, that's a top tier grass surface.
No, for sure. I mean, it won't ever, I think, be as bad as 2007 Monday night against the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, they've figured a lot out since then. They've figured a lot out since then about the process of changing the turf over. They used to overlay the replacement turf. Now and that's what caused those puddles in that game. Remember, the punt lands like a mortar shell. They're good at it now, man. This place is going to look beautiful again in 24 hours. And unfortunately, I think the Pitt gets the first crack at the fresh turf, right? They have a home game.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. The day before the Steelers play the Packers.
Yep. Yep. And that fresh turf will be on primetime too. So that'll be good to see. So let's take a little quick review of the rest of the AFC North. Brandon Griffin shouts out, the Ravens have dropped another game. They dropped to 1-5. And Desert Cactus keeping us posted on what's going on. Bengals have 65 yards of first half offense. So much for Flacco being their savior. And the AFC North having an insanely down year. And honestly, if there was ever a year that you wanted to take advantage of this opportunity, I mean, this is it. They brought in Aaron Rodgers to be that steady veteran, and things are looking good, but they have to avoid what happened last year. And but I think things are a little different this go around.
Yeah, with no Joe Burrow and no Lamar Jackson, those two teams are not nearly as scary. Now they're going to come back. Burrow just at the very end of the year. Lamar will probably be back after the Ravens get off their bye. But the distance the Steelers have been able to put between them and Baltimore especially is significant. Now, this Thursday game, don't be counting this before it's hatched, because these are tough. And so no matter how bad Cincinnati looks, don't be expecting Thursday to come easily. But, man, if they can win that one, and then Baltimore's off, that's about as dominant of a position as I can ever remember them being at this point in the season in terms of the division. And they haven't even played their best ball yet. It would be one thing if, the Steelers were just, playing at a totally unsustainable clip right now, and you're what, 2020, when, they were winning games. You're they can't keep winning like this. This is all going to come crashing down at some point. I don't get that feeling about this team. I think they're going to continue to get better as the season goes on.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, even points last year, it was kind of they can't, with Russell Wilson, you can't just check it down or chuck it deep. Rodgers is using the field. And he's doing a good job of that as well. So you definitely get good feelings about that. Mike highlights JPJ. Thank you, Mike. Thought he was great today, and I thought he was too. There was one play that you thought he was going to get called for pass interference, but it was going against Jerry Jeudy, and that was the same play that I think Patrick Queen had roughing the passer, so it offset. But no, I think he had a really good game as well. It would have probably been best capped off if he held on to that pick, but he wasn't the only one today.
Yeah, you're gonna have the DBs on the jugs machine. Short week, you're gonna do lighter practices in general, more about recovery and game planning than any physical work. But I will be shocked if we don't see some DBs on the jugs machine at practice this week. Joey had to drop in the end zone, could have been an interception. But I thought he was really good. Jeudy ends up getting 5 catches for 43 yards, but I felt like they did a really nice job of keeping his impact minimized. And he's really the kind of one and only guy of that receiving core. I think Thrash had 1 catch, and maybe Bond had a couple. but it was, it's not a deep receiving room. Now the tight end's 8, no question. Harold Fannin 781, but I thought outside, like they really, like Judy really got away from him last year, and they really did a nice job of shutting him down. Starts with Joey in his first game back from a hamstring injury. Thought it looked great. Got banged up a couple times. Not really sure what that was all about, but he should be good to go. And I think actually all their DBs will be good to go on Thursday.
Absolutely. And it was also, I mean, this is Joey Porter's first full game since January. So, I mean, he's probably still kind of maybe not getting up to speed per se, but, getting ramped up, I guess, maybe the best way to put it. Vegas, again, highlighting one of your favorite subjects about PFF, saying PFF will say he was great. And PFF has already actually graded Myles as an 80.3 from what I saw, and graded Broderick Jones a 50, including a 33.9 blocking grade in their initial gradings. But guys, this is why you don't take PFF grades seriously. They have a lot of stuff that is usable, their data and whatnot, but their grades, that's just a marketing thing, and it's just something that will get consumers that are not NFL teams.
It only exists to get you angry, and they absolutely manipulate them to make you angrier. So just don't fall into that trap.
Absolutely. And Jim Morrison, we are related. By the way, that's my dad. He said there were a lot of.
I thought it was the lead singer of the Doors from the ether in here commenting on the Steelers.
Well, we get that all the time. I'll be like, "What's your dad's name?" Jim. Oh, like from the Doors. I'm like, yeah, like him. And but he says one thing that he does kind of highlight. We need to definitely come away with those interceptions, because as the schedule gets harder, any turnover you can get is going to definitely help the cause out.
Yeah, I don't think the Steelers are going to win very many games where they don't get a turnover.
Yeah.
You need a real bad offense for that to work. Thank you, Cleveland.
Right. Exactly. So, all right. And speaking of Thursday, Desert Cactus highlights Thursday road games are brutal, but Vegas also gives us the stat that they are 5-18 on Thursdays all time.
Well, Job, I know you know the answer to this. How many road division Thursday night football games have the Steelers won?
Since the merger?
0. Never won one. I don't know. It's in the teens somewhere. I forget how many.
The last road Thursday night game where it was, you could say technically a division opponent, even though they really didn't have divisions like that back then, was 1950.
Yeah.
And it was against the Chicago Cardinals.
There you go. Anytime you can do something that you haven't done since the Chicago Cardinals existed, it's been a while.
No, absolutely, yeah. It's going to be, I'm not going to hold my breath, because I'm a big believer in trends. I'm a big believer in curses, and I don't know. Let's see if Aaron Rodgers has that some of that magic potion.
We'll have to, when you write that story this week, look up Rodgers' numbers in those games.
He is 13-5 on Thursday night.
Well, what about road division? We gotta get specific.
I think on the road he only has one loss. Okay, what I saw, but we'll definitely.
It'll be Rodgers' trend and Tomlin trend. Something's got to give. We'll see which one it is.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I think last year one of those trends that came about was Russell Wilson was undefeated in Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh hasn't won there since the land before time.
1960, I think, was their last
win.
I think
it was 1960. Yeah, a long time ago.
Point here by Mike. Luckily, the Bengals are still playing, get less time to recover. Consecutive weeks, the Steelers get a significant rest advantage, right? They were on the bye while Cleveland was still in London. And now next week, even though it's only 3 hours, let me tell you, that 3 hours on a short week makes a big difference. The Bengals are heated that game turned into a 4:25 game. And especially because, why? They're getting killed. This is a big deal. And if this comes to pass, remember those couple hours as potentially being impactful.
No, absolutely. And right now, The Packers are up 10-0, but the Bengals are in the red zone here in the third quarter. So they're making it competitive on the road in Green Bay. So let's see. I don't know. Maybe Flacco may not be the savior. Maybe he gave him a little extra juice. I don't know. And Duke says Rodgers is that guy. I have faith. I think that's a good way to look at it, because they could have went and got a Daniel Jones. They could have went and got a Sam Darnold. Maybe not for the contracts that someone like Darnold signed, but Tomlin and company had faith in Rodgers. That's why they were so patient. And I think you're starting to see that pay off, especially early in some spots where younger quarterbacks who don't have as much experience as Rodgers wouldn't have come through, especially in games like, you think New England, you think of games like the Jets, especially in week 1. I think he's given reason to say, have faith in him moving forward. Maybe not MVP Rodgers, but, hey, I think he's definitely earning that faith from the Steelers faithful.
Yeah, so far so good. And I think we haven't seen MVP Rodgers. I don't think we're going to, but I think he's been very effective at getting them into good places. And I think that has been shown by the fact that they're winning a lot of football games.
Absolutely. Well, folks, we're about to wrap it up. Be sure to tune in for the morning rush, the afternoon drive, and also we will have the Steelers night shift. I will be back this week. Maybe my neck won't be as sore as it was Wednesday, and I'll be able to actually sit and not do this number. That was not very fun, but I'm very thankful for the opportunity, Alan, to talk post game with you and the rest of our Steelers Now following. Be sure to follow us, like and subscribe. And Mr. Saunders, where can they find you?
Hey, Saunders_PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now, site account, SteelersNow.com. Go there and read the words. We got DBs, Dudes, and Duds, which I just got a text from Derek. He's ready to go. So as soon as we get done here, I'm going to go publish that. Lots more from Postgame. I'll be on the final word on Channel 11 if you're in Pittsburgh tonight after the news, after Sunday Night Football. And, of course, anyone can like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel. That helps us continue to grow this show, all the other shows that Joe just mentioned, as we continue to reach a bigger and bigger audience. If you're listening on an audio platform, leave us a 5-star review and subscribe, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We appreciate you over there as well.
Absolutely. And you can find me on Twitter, also known as X, at Joby Football, JOBEY Football. And guys, y'all have a good night. Alan, be safe getting home. And actually, what time are you going to get home? Because you said you're going to.
Yeah, I'm going to the studio from here. Home is a long way in the distant future.
There you go. Well, be safe getting there and getting home tonight. And everyone, have a good night. And we will talk to you soon to preview the Bengals. And let's go Steelers.